This is our facilitation video on the activity hoop pass or circle the circle. You're going to ask your group to form in a standing circle, and they should be, if they spread their arms out like this is the distance they should have between them. You're going to have one hula hoop. The setup is very simple. You're going to have them stand in the circle. You're going to stand just outside the circle with the group right here, and you're going to ask them to grab hands with the person on their left or their right. As they do that, as the two people in front of you reach to grab hands, you're going to hold the hoop just like this. So their two hands will have to intersect in between, inside the hula hoop. At that point, you can let go of the hoop and let it rest on their held hands. And you're going to say your challenge is to pass this hoop from where you're starting completely around the circle such that nobody breaks the grip, and you cannot use any fingers or any other means to help move that hoop around, only your bodies. And the hoop has to cross and pass over everybody as it travels around the circle. That's the setup. There are lots of ways to run this. Typically, it evolves into an activity where they're working against the clock as a race, but first they have to build their skill set. So you step back and then they begin, and what happens is they're holding hands with the person next to them, and so they're going to help each other by finding a way, either by stepping through first and then passing it around, or by bringing it up over their head, bring it down, and then passing through. And so they'll figure that out pretty quickly, but as they do that, they'll find there's some really interesting innovations and fun, creative ways to have this go faster. So first, they practice. Several minutes of getting the skill, and then you'll announce that now they're going to go for time to see how fast they can do this. And once they set a benchmark time, then they can try to beat it. So you go for time, as always happens in teams. Once the clock is set and there's a competition, sometimes teams figure out all the small stuff, sometimes the pressure makes them make mistakes. Either way, this activity is built around several rounds of competing against the clock. So they go for their first time, they're very excited, then you give them a minute or two to discuss how can we do better, what are our innovations, how can we go faster. They try again, same thing as before, time to discuss, potentially one or two more tries. If you have, and hopefully their scores are improving. If they are, if they aren't, they're great opportunities for discussion and for sharing. They can get very creative with where they place people and how they hold hands, and some teams even put two people in the hoop at a time. But again, they cannot break hands, and they can't do anything like this in terms of holding the hoop with their fingers to pass it through. It must be a clean pass. What we like to do for comfort and safety is make the hoop particularly large, and that gives everybody comfort knowing that they'll be able to pass through. We're also encouraging people to move quickly, but not in jerky motions, because shoulders going up and down and knees bending, we have to be careful for safety as well. Once the activity is set up this way, it can quickly expand into multiple teams competing against each other. You can have a much larger circle. You can have multiple hoops being passed around the same circle, or even the hoops trying to chase each other around. There's lots of variations, but that's the essence of the activity for hoop pass or circle to circle.